5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's find out what's happening.
It's what's happening right now. This is the Jazz Johal Show on 980 CKNW.
It's Friday, June 21st. Welcome to the Jazz Johal Show. Thanks for dropping by and letting us get you home safe and sound for the weekend. But let's begin and discuss a problem we rarely actually talk about, which is, of course, cities across North America struggling to provide access to public bathrooms. Now, in Paris, there are over 400 freestanding public bathrooms across the city. In London, 1 out of every 3 tube station has a public bathroom. And in Tokyo, public bathrooms are not only plentiful, they're often beautiful works of art, winning prizes and international recognition for their design. But here in the Lower Mainland, well, we lack public toilets. Well, in Westminster, city staff there updated council about a plan to install a permanent freestanding toilet in downtown New Westminster. It'll be located at Begbie Street at a cost of about $650,000. Joining me now to discuss the Urbaloo in New Westminster is Councillor Nadine Nakagawa. Councillor Nakagawa, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to come on and talk about washrooms.
Yeah, I know it's an interesting subject. People don't think much of them, but how did this start, this conversation in your community start in regards to installing a public bathroom?
It really got heated up during the height of the pandemic when people were out walking around, and we really realized how many bathroom deserts there are in New Westminster. There's sort of an expectation in the past that people could go into businesses and just use their washroom, but that wasn't the case. And that's not a great solution for anybody. So we started having this conversation about more public infrastructure in the form of washrooms around that time, and now we're really seeing it come to fruition.
Now, I have an understanding of New Westminster, and this particular site, some of us have talked about other locations in your community. This is going to be located on Begbie Street, to my understanding, between Columbia and Front Street. It is, to my understanding, next to an interurban condo. Is that going to be a concern that it's, and if it's downtown Vancouver, that's one thing, and you see them here by our offices, but is that going to be an issue if it's near a residential property?
Well, if you know downtown New Westminster, you'll know that you can't really swing a cat, as they say, without hitting a residential property or a business. And so that is the problem, is that this is a really dense neighborhood. There's a lot of transit stations. This is, where we have a lot of tourism and a lot of visitors coming down to our waterfront area, our downtown. And so it is a difficult problem to solve, how not to put it by, a business or a building, but still make it in a spot that works for the community, and one that actually works with the kind of invisible infrastructure under the road as well. Mm-hmm. The first location that we looked at just simply didn't work because it was on top of a Metro Vancouver water main and it didn't connect to the city sewage pipes. So difficult problem to solve.
Would this be 24/7? Would it be in operation 24/7?
Well, that's something I think we're inviting staff to look at. There's a lot of support at council for having a 24-hour washroom, because that is really a gap in our community. And, people have to go when they have to go, so it doesn't matter all hours of the day. As of right now, the plan is for it to be dawn to dusk. But I would be really interested in looking at how we can make some 24-hour toilets exist.
Who does it serve in your mind?
Well, it's, when we're thinking about toilets, it really serves the whole community. So when we're having this conversation, we're talking about people like we have a seniors friendly strategy. We know people with disabilities, some invisible disabilities especially, can't always, spend the time looking for around for a washroom. And also families, we've heard this loud and clear from families that, when you've got kids, they've got to go and they've got to go. And so we're really thinking about this as a service that will work for the entire community. And that'll be, that really makes it rely heavily on being clean, well-maintained. And so that's a big priority for us.
Mm-hmm. Will this be this is the first one for the community, I'm assuming, are you hoping to have more after this one is actually put up and paid for, or are you hoping to have more?
Definitely. I think that an overall washroom strategy is something that we need. It's, maybe not the flashiest thing to talk about, but it's a really basic public need. it's important city infrastructure that I want to invest in. And there's other neighborhoods that I have heard as well calling for this. So yeah, definitely would like to see more of these.
Why do you think we here in North America are so challenged to actually have public bathrooms so readily available? They're not that any one region around the world is good at it. There's other regions that suffer from it, but Europe seems to have done a better job. Maybe not a perfect job, but why have we done such a poor job in regards to making public bathrooms available to our residents?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question, and one I don't think I have the answer for. I will say that I have the great pleasure of serving on Metro Vancouver's Liquid Waste Committee as well. And that's all about sewage, and it's all about what we do with sewage. And we don't really have a good conversation locally about things like, where the sewage goes. We kind of take it for granted. We turn on taps, water comes out, we flush a toilet, it goes away. So I think we've just kind of stigmatized this conversation and not wanted to think about it, but it shows up in our communities. When somebody can't find a washroom and it's an emergency, we see that in our community.
The cost itself, do you think you can justify that to your residents? Like it's $650,000 for the whole cost for this public bathroom?
Well, we've heard that our community wants us to invest in infrastructure, and there's no infrastructure that is more, universal than the need for a washroom. So I think that this is a good investment. I think this is where cities should be putting our money. It is within our jurisdiction. And yeah, the price might seem high, but things are escalating in price. And this plan actually has a healthy contingency. So I think it is a good investment. Could
the public bathroom not have been installed at the new Westminster SkyTrain station? To my understanding, it's right nearby there. Could it not have been installed there? And you still have lots of people going through there. And it's technically away from this condo that I had mentioned, because my understanding is some residents, or many residents there, feel that they weren't consulted and they're not too happy with a public bathroom right near their entrance to their condo. Could it not have been put in at the new Westminster SkyTrain station?
I think all the SkyTrain stations should have washrooms, but unfortunately that's not our jurisdiction, and there's been long campaigns to work with TransLink on this. So I'm open to exploring other partnerships and other ideas about how to get more washrooms, but unfortunately we don't have, this is actually city land, and that is not.
I know we've had this conversation in the city of Vancouver. You're now moving forward in New Westminster. Do you see this happening in other municipalities now in Metro Vancouver?
I think there will be, because, again, we hear from so many people that we need more washrooms. It's just a basic human need that applies to all of us. So, yeah, I think that a lot of communities will be looking to see how this rolls out. We look forward to learning from it, improving on it. And like you asked, would like to see in other parts of our community as well as throughout the region. And
in this case, I'm just trying to envision the area a bit more. Do they not have any restaurants in that area, like fast food restaurants where people can go in and use those bathrooms as well? Or was it just a shortage in your mind that location had to have a publicly funded bathroom?
Well, there are restaurants and bars and fast food restaurants around, but that doesn't work for everybody, and nor do I actually think that businesses should have to be accommodating the general public to use their washroom. This should be a public facility. Businesses shouldn't have to take on this role. So I think it's important that the city actually funds this and pays for this and doesn't pass it along to businesses.
Councillor Nakagawa, thank you so much for your time today. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks, Jess.
All right, that is Nadine Nakagawa.